but you don't understand at that age. At least 9 times out of 10, you don't understand the situation at hand. And what's most important is, has he grown from that? I mean, Stephen A. Smith was on his First Take or whatever show he's on, defending Jerry Jones. Now, there's a picture surfacing around where Jerry Jones was in a crowd of white people blocking the entrance of a school after segregation. Black students going to an all-white school. I'm pretty sure you've seen the movies, you've seen pictures. And I don't know how someone did this. Like, this is the power of the entire net, okay? They found Jerry Jones' little tiny face in a picture. Now, this is a beautiful picture. Like, whoever took this picture 60 years ago had an amazing camera, because you can see like the hairs on his eyebrow. Like, it's a really good picture. So we know it's Jerry Jones. Now, the conversation is, how long is something going to stick with you? If you do something stupid, if you do something wrong, how long does that stick around? Now, let's go ahead and hear Stephen A. Smith talk about it, and then we're going to have this conversation. Go ahead in the comments down below. Let me know what you think, beforehand, but let's go ahead and watch this video.
Just as a reminder to me of how to improve and do things the right way.
Okay, a little context here. The Cowboys are one of 7 teams not to have had a black head coach and have had 2 black coordinators since Jones has owned the team, but their highest football executive vice president of player personnel, Will McClay, is black. Jones has complied with the Rooney Rule, in which teams have to interview minority candidates. Jones said his decisions are made for business reasons, not race. Stephen A., your reaction to all of this?
I'm pretty pissed off. And let me say this. I'm pissed off, but not for reasons that people would think. I'm very, very fond of Jerry Jones, and I'm not hiding that from anybody. Is his record perfect? No. But I'm pissed off because he doesn't deserve what just happened. He doesn't deserve it. Our report said he was 14 years old. Yeah. Another report said he was 15 years old. At minimum, that's 65 years ago. Ooh. You're going to bring up a picture of Jerry Jones standing at this protest. No question, what was happening is not something that anybody as a black person should be appreciative about. We had 6 students at that particular North Little Rock High School that was trying to desegregate the school.
No one should be okay with it.
Nobody should be okay with that.
Regardless of race.
We understand that. We get all of that. We also understand what we as black people and as black folks, black men, have to deal with. And by the way, to some degree, we still deal with a lot of things, and we all know it. Racism is alive and well. Bigotry and prejudice is alive and well. We get all of that. What I'm saying is, here's the part that bothers me. You want to get on Jerry Jones and his track record, fine. In 2003 or so, you know what? You should have hired Dennis Green. Shouldn't have got an interview on the phone.
Okay. Hold on. Let me pause it. Because this is a lengthy video, and I know some people get all butthurt because I pause in the video. But this is my channel. Okay, simmer down. All right. Before we get into it, is it awkward to bring up a picture of somebody 65 years ago and question them? What in the hell are you doing in this circumstance? What are you doing at this point in period of time, especially 65 years ago? It's black and white, no pun intended. But people can't ask the question. Now, this is the part right here where I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith. I love Stephen A. Smith. I love him. Once he starts his podcast, I'm going to be the first subscriber. Trust me. But I do not agree with him because Jerry Jones is not anybody special. just because he owns the Dallas Cowboys, just because he's a cool person, and he's probably, he's flown Stephen A. Smith in his private helicopter. None of that matters. Okay, none of that matters. We have the right to ask him. He's a public figure. We can ask him, hey, we just found this picture. I know it was 60, 65 years ago, but, we just kind of want some information about this. Now, should we cancel him? No. Should we have him resign or no, you don't have to do all that. Okay. Statutes of limitations. I think it has to be play a part in some of this, right? But we can ask. And if it's smart of Jerry Jones, he should have a simple answer like, hey, that was a long time ago. I was just a spectator and just trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Like, he could say anything. Don't say it. Don't be like, yeah, I was trying to keep those Negroes out. Like, don't say nothing crazy like that. But it's not wrong to ask questions. Okay, so that's one part I disagree with Stephen A. Smith.
An in-person interview.
Right.
You should have followed the letter of the rule of the law as it pertained to the Rooney Rule. He wanted Bill Parcells, universally recognized one of the greatest football coaches we've ever seen. It was clear he wanted Bill Parcells. Nobody else was going to have a chance of getting that job. That's what he wants to do. You want to malign him for that? Fine. You want to point out that he's one of 7 black NFL owners that's never hired an African-American as a head coach? Fine. Do all of that. Attack him for that. Go ahead. Yeah. No problem. I see a plethora of African-Americans employed by him. I see black players who played for him who rave about this man and what he's done for them on a personal level. But if you want to go by his hiring record when it comes to head coaches, no problem. Can't go the executive route because we know it's him. You know what I'm saying? He want to be the president, the GM, the owner. He want to do everything. And then he's got his children that he leans on as well. So he can't go the executive route. But you want to get on him about the head coaches, fine. But you're going to bring up a photo of him when he was 14, 15 years old. 65 or 66 years ago. This is where cancer culture gets into the mix, and you're making an attempt to eradicate him, what he stands for, and all he has done. Yeah. I will remind you, we've had Senator Robert Byrd, who passed away a few years ago, that was a member of the KKK. We've had other politicians, whose record, who didn't want the segregate, who didn't want desegregation. Right. The George Wallaces of the world, the Bull Connors of the world, and others, okay? We've seen all of this. We've had elected officials on Capitol Hill that are implementing and legislating policy that affects our lives. But we're going to go to Jerry Jones. And by the way, I don't have a problem with the photo. I don't have a problem. If he was 30, 35, 40 years old, that's different. Right. Yeah. 14.
Now, here's the picture, just in case if you guys... dang, how can I get it in there? Let's see. Save image. Let's go ahead and hear him talk.
15 years old. 14, 15 years old. Right. So now some folks are going to get to look at Jerry Jones, and who's from Arkansas. It's the South. We understand what the South represented. You understand what I'm saying? Remember, when slavery ended with the Emancipation Proclamation, you talk about 1863 and what have you. What did Dr. Martin Luther King talk about?
All right.
Well, you didn't give black folks nothing.
All right, let's go ahead and pause it real quick. Now, this is the picture at question right here. This is, to me, it's crazy how they found this picture, all right? Now, Stephen A. Smith is making another good point. Now, if Jerry Jones was, he'll be like 100 something, a billion years old if he was 30 at this point in time. But for conversation's sake, if he was in his 30s, maybe even 20s, mid 20s, 30s, 40s, and he was in this crowd, okay, then that'd be a different story. That'd be like you're able to understand the severity of the situation that's going on. And look at the picture. It looked like they ready to squabble. It actually looks like a movie scene. I don't know. The picture quality is beautiful with this. If he was in his mid-20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, we could ask some questions. We need to ask some deeper questions like, why were you here? And why are you standing on that side? of the crowd. But he's 14, 15 years old. When you're 14, 15, and he looks curious, he's looking like, hey, he'd be a good football player. Something like that. Like, he doesn't look like he's laughing or pointing or just with that ugly face that, some people can make. He just looks curious. But even with that, I honestly think that, you can be racist at any age. I get that. But you don't understand at that age, at least 9 times out of 10, you don't understand the situation at hand. And what's most important is, has he grown from that? I mean, we're going to touch on that at the end of this. But this is the picture. Bam, right there. So that's a little weird. Okay, I think we can go ahead and take that off. All right, let's listen.
You ridded slavery from them, but you gave them no land. But you gave white peasants from Europe land in the West and the Midwest. Okay.
It sounds like he's spitting facts.
1863 or what? When slavery ended with the Emancipation Proclamation, you talk about 1863 or what have you. What did Dr. Martin Luther King talk about? Well, you didn't give black folks nothing. You ridded slavery from them, but you gave them no land. But you gave white peasants from Europe land in the West and the Midwest. Okay.
That's true.
So we understand from an historical perspective where it all comes from, what the South represented at least once upon a time, and in some people's eyes still to this day. But we're going to lean on somebody when he was 14, born and raised in the South, and we're going to pick it up 66 years later to say, something?
Yeah.
You ain't hire a black coach. I think that's pretty low. I really, really do. I think that part is pretty low. If he were an adult, that would be different. But a 14, 15-year-old kid raised in the South who literally is just standing there looking, and we use that to bring up in the year 2022.
Yeah.
Oh, this is where you are. You got to explain this. You ready to explain what you did when you were 14?
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be nothing interesting.
I don't know if I want to, especially how the world would perceive it today.
Yeah.
And I'm 55. Yeah. This man is 80. Yeah. 66 years ago. Come on, y'all.
Yeah, I have a.
All right, cool. Let's go ahead. Boom, boom, full cam right here. All right, check this out. People are going to ask questions. There's no getting around that. Okay, like I said, Jerry Jones is a public figure. We all know him. We're going to have some questions. Now, 65 years. He does have a track record. Okay. We have to learn how to observe somebody's track record, their history, judge them on that, hear what they have to say, and then if being honest with yourself, okay, be honest. Don't be out for blood just for the sake of out for blood, just to have some rich guy, go through the hoops, and like sometimes it could be fun. I get it. You want to make rich, wealthy people just struggle for a little bit, but should he be canceled? No, I don't think so. Should he have to quit, or should he have to send out 4 or 5 apology letters and videos and give $1 million to, I mean, that would be cool. I ain't to a historical black college. Dude, that would be cool. Jerry Jones, if you're watching this, go ahead and do that. But other than that, grace has to be shown as human beings. Because at the age of 14, 15, 20, we were one person. And by the age of 30, hopefully we're different. If you're 30 something years old and you're acting the same way you've been since you were 15, something's wrong. You need to get off Jerry Jones and worry about your life. If you're doing the same things, talking the same way, moving the same way, thinking the same way, talking the same way, you need to leave Jerry Jones alone and figure out your own life. All right, let's go ahead and get that out. You're always going to progress. You're always going to grow. You're going to change as a person. Your thinking is going to change. You're going to develop more knowledge, more information, more wisdom. That should make you a different person. Now, for the good or worse, that's up to you. Jerry Jones, like you said, is like 75, 80 years old. We can look how he's handled his football team, his prior engagement with people of color, and judge him off that. Be like, hey, you seem to not have changed since this photo. You grew up in a segregated time. We can see people who haven't really changed, like Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Jerry Jones is not Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he may have slipped up when the whole Colin Kaepernick thing happened. I did some research today. But like Stephen A. Smith, he's hired a whole bunch of black people, a whole bunch of people of color. If he really didn't like black people, I'm pretty sure it'd be a lot worse than what it is. But at some point in time, we have to allow people to speak how they feel, how they felt during that time, how they feel now, accept their apology, understand that people are going to make mistakes. They're going to be naive when they're younger, and they are a changed person just like us. I made stupid mistakes when I was 15, 20 years old. I don't act like that no more. I don't speak like that. I don't walk like that anymore. I am a new person, and so is everybody else. That's one thing we got to understand. So, once again, you can question. He's a public figure. Ask your questions. It is an interesting photo. Maybe he can shed some insight that we didn't know about the situation, and then move on. That's simple.